Did you know that the National Museum of African American History and Culture is the only national museum dedicated solely to documenting Black life, history, and culture in the United States? Now, it took nearly a century of advocacy to make it happen. See, it holds over 40,000 artifacts, from Harriet Tubman's shawl to Emmett Till's casket to Chuck D's boombox. See, this museum isn't just a building, it's proof that we're here, that we built this country, that we survived. And now Trump wants to destroy all of that. He won't say that outright, but it's exactly what his new executive order that he signed on yesterday is about. So he's calling for the Smithsonian to remove improper, divisive, or anti-American content. But let's be real, what he means is Black history. He wants to strip funding from exhibits that make people uncomfortable. But history isn't comfortable. It's raw, it's ugly, and it's ours. This isn't about preserving truth, it's about erasing it. This is a dog whistle to white supremacists, a blatant move to rewrite history so that America looks cleaner, whiter, and less guilty. They don't want people to remember the Middle Passage. They don't want people to talk about redlining, police brutality, or systemic racism still shaping this country today. They want to replace our truth with their propaganda. But here's what Trump and his followers don't understand. You can't erase people who refuse to be erased. Black Americans are some of the most resilient people on this planet. We've survived centuries of attempts to silence us, and every time we've come back louder. And if he thinks gutting a museum is going to stop our stories from being told, he's got another thing coming. Because we are the history. We carry it, we live it. Now try to erase us and watch how we fight back.
Okay, guys, in a nutshell, I've been seeing on blogs that Trump wants to get rid of African American history in the Smithsonian. They have an African American history museum. And the answer, it's kind of complicated, but it's not. He doesn't want to get rid of the African American part of the Smithsonian. What he does want is for it to be presented correctly. What happened, they presented the concepts of a nuclear family, individualism, and hard work as white culture concepts. And he's saying that if you're going to have a museum here for whichever group's history, that's not a white concept. Anybody can be hardworking. Anybody can have a nuclear family, which is mom, dad, child, or man, woman. Anybody can have that. Anybody can be an individualist. That's not a white concept. That's anyone. And he's saying if you're going to have a museum here in America and it be federally funded, where we handing you the dollars, you're not going to be divisive and tell Black people that the only people who can have, or the only people who came up with nuclear families, hard work, and individualism are white people, and that's a white concept. He's saying that's an American concept. That's what we do as the United States. That's what people aren't reporting. They're just saying Trump wants to get rid of African American history. He's also targeting the women's history part, because they are trying to include men in women's sports as a part of their exhibits. And he's saying absolutely not. If it's women's history, then it's going to be about women. And y'all already know how that man felt about that. He told you before he was elected. He told you when he was running. He told you when he got in office. I'm not standing for this and I'm totally against it. So again, let's not be shocked and act like y'all didn't know that that's what his stance was. So in a nutshell, no, he's not trying to get rid of African American history, but he wants the verbiage to be correct and not divisive to where it's saying that Black people aren't apt to have nuclear families, hard workers, and individualism. So that's in a nutshell. You might agree, you might not. Let me know in the comments. Remember to be respectful. And I will talk to you guys on the next one. Go USA. Y'all have a great day. Bye.
So this is the new thing, right? You want to get rid of the African American Museum, calling it divisive, calling it race-centered, calling it corrosive. Really? And the things that's going on right now is none of those things. These entertainers, you Black entertainers out here, you need to start buying this stuff. Buy it up. You got the money to do it. We have made you rich by buying your stuff, your clothes, your music, your concert tickets. Y'all need to buy this stuff up. I'm blaming y'all. Yeah. The Democrats, they don't really have a whole lot of power to do anything. They standing up the best they can, but they can do a little bit more harder standing up to this stuff. And we're not taking the bait. And I'll leave you with this.
Here today is because somebody somewhere stood up when it was risky. Stood up when it was hard. Stood up when it wasn't popular.
Donald Trump ain't getting rid of black history. I grew up a Democrat. I loved Obama. I'm in Naples, Florida right now, supporting Byron Donalds for Florida governor, who's a black guy, a Republican black guy. I would not be a part of the Republican Party. I would not have voted for Donald Trump if I knew he was racist, if I knew he was trying to get rid of black history. That whole executive order had nothing to do with getting rid of Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, anything that's significant with America history. It's getting rid of woke history. All woke is government control. They want to divide us, make it about race. Make it like that's what the liberals are doing. You're a black man, so the Republicans are after you. You're a woman, so the Republicans are after you. That's why more and more black people are starting to vote Republican, because they're starting to realize once you actually vote for the Democrats, guess what? They don't do nothing for you. There's a reason 7 out of 7 swing states voted for Donald Trump this last election, because they're tired of the empty promises that the Biden-Harris administration brought them. And it will continue to be that way with the Democrat Party until you guys actually wake up. Woke needs to wake up.
Newsflash! More racism! Yeah! Trump is signing, I guess he's trying to sign some bill to do something about this African American museum, because they're talking about like changing all this Smithsonian back to their normal, I guess, American history that we are used to. So, of course, they're focusing on the African American Museum of History. First of all, the African American Museum is amazing, okay? It really is amazing. I've been there 4 times, went through it 4 times. And the good thing about it is I studied a lot of it, so I knew a lot of it already. It's really beautiful. And if you look at the museum, if you ever go to DC, it's the only brown Smithsonian. It stands out. Most of the buildings in DC are very white, especially that monument that looks like a white dick. Yeah, actually, they got that from Egypt, actually. But anyway, but all the other buildings are white. The Capitol, the White House, all of those other buildings are white. But except for this African American Museum, which is kind of shaped differently and it's very brown. So he wants to change whatever's in there. Well, I hope they're in for a big ass fight, because what the are you going to change? What are you going to change? Because all of this stuff in there is facts. And by the way, the African American Museum, that is actually lightweight shit. All right. That's actually lightweight to the atrocities that whites have put upon African Americans. And I'm talking about black Americans. I'm talking about foundational black Americans. The atrocities in that museum aren't all that is shown. It's actually lightweight. Historically, whites have done worse to black people. Actually, you're leaving a lot of shit out. I don't give a damn if it's the movies Amistad, Roots, Django, all those slave movies. That shit is the lightweight version. In fact, if they actually showed what really happened to slaves, nobody would be able to watch it. Not even black people. Nobody would be able to watch what the has happened to black Americans. Nobody. And even colonization. Nobody would be able to show what has happened to Africans and colonizations, what Europeans have done to Africans, which is beyond atrocious, which is unfathomable and unforgivable. And the fact that black people around the world have got to be the most forgiving people on the planet. That is a fact. The shit that has happened to black men and black women, physically, mentally, spiritually, I'm surprised we're not going around taking people's heads off, because we don't do like that. Because black folks, I'm just keeping it 100, in science, the African is 100% human and the European is 97% human and 3% Neanderthal. Go look it up. We're the most forgiving race. I'm sorry. Black folks didn't do anything to you. Black people didn't do to you. Don't talk about that black on black crime, because you all commit more crimes than we do. Don't come and deflect me with that bull, because this is getting ridiculous. So I'm coming with this intense video because it's getting ridiculous. I knew this was going to happen. See, once they were like, okay, they were like, let's get rid of all the Latinos, dog the women. I knew it. Black people are always on the list as the number one problem. The people who built the country, and everybody took advantage of black sweat, blood, and tears. Everything was always, we got to get black people. Everything, every move they made, DEI, everything was, even though white women, and we all know this, white women were the ones that benefited from DEI. DEI was always about these goddamn blacks, you always had a problem with black people all the time, whatever it is. And what's really funny is, how come you're not rolling back the NFL or the NBA? I'm not insulting any of the athletes, but how come you're not rolling back that? Why don't you make that all white? Make NFL and NBA all white, and we'll get our own leagues, and we can always like have an annual competition. You haven't touched sports yet. You want black people to run up and down these fields and courts and sweat their asses off, but you haven't. I'm trying to understand this. Why are you trying to with the African American Museum? What are you doing? You're going to put back all the monuments, all the racist monuments and the boys and the slave owners and what? So, well, while you put that up, we should put up some new statues of ours too. This shit is a fucking joke. It's a joke. And you know what's great? Is black people are getting tired of this. This ain't the 1920s and 30s. These are different black people now. You have a whole different breed. When we fight back, you f around and find out. All right? You f around and finding out about all kinds of with other countries. China's telling you something. Mexico is pissed off. I always knew that it was going to be about black people because black folks, the foundational black Americans, have every right to be here, every right to be an American. Oh, yes, they do. And the reason why you ain't come after Native Americans is because you got rid of most of them. See, because Native Americans should be really complaining about this whole. They should be in the forefront of all this. But you murdered most of them, so they can't really say much. They can't really say much. Because you put them on reservations. You understand? I don't know how you all feel about this, but I'm just ranting. But this is getting out of hand. Now that they've gotten rid of most, it's always about black progress. It's like we're the bane of your existence. Black people are the bane of white people's existence. There are white people actually fighting against that. All right? There are allies. Of course there are allies. But the whole scheme of things is black people are the problem. The ones that built the buildings in D.C. Benjamin Banneker, who designed all of D.C. But it's all good because this ain't going to come without a fight. You can guarantee you that. And all you handkerchief head ass, you Aunt Jemima that are with these people, yeah, you going down too. You going down too. Okay? So get your tap shoes because, yo, this is about to get ugly. You let me know. You all let me know. I'm ranting on. I probably said some of the wrong. Hey, man, but I had to say something because it's getting out of hand. And I hope there's going to be a fight. You need to leave history alone. Black history basically is how they were treated like by white people. That's basically what it is. Black American history is about black people being on by white people as they were trying to progress. Yeah, and you don't want to hear it, but we have to because you still behave like that. You haven't changed. Now, I can understand if you've changed your attitude. You don't call us anymore. You actually aren't passive aggressive. You stopped redlining. You stopped gentrifying what doesn't belong to you. You know, you stop actually defunding black schools, keeping black people in ghettos, mass incarceration. Let's say all of that stopped and there was no more of that. Then I would be like, hey, man, we need to stop complaining. We need to start treating them better. But it hasn't changed. Your behavior hasn't changed. It's exactly like the early 1800s and 1700s and 1500s. It's the same, right? And we have to know where this behavior comes from. It's like medical history. If you have a disease, the doctor's going to say, well, let's look at your family history on why this is occurring. That is why history is important, so we can know why you keep acting a f***ing fool. You know, I believe that this is just a case of racial dyslexia. Yeah, they don't mean DEI, they mean DIE. Die, blacks. Die. Please get away. Please go. I don't want any more diversity programs. Please, we know we f***ed you up. We know it. We know half the shit that we have has been stolen. We know we decimated the Native Americans. We know, but we just want you to go away. We don't want black history because all of black history is just basically white atrocities and how we treated you. Please, DIE, go away. This white guilt is killing me. It's choking me every day. Why? Why does it have to be about race? I know we made it about race first, but why? I would rather deflect on you and just blame you. Why? I can't wait to hear the comments. Die!
Thank you for watching Great Minds Blacks.